Well, hello, California. Happy Tuesday. We are right in the thick of it with our Promise campaign, which is, as you know, one of the biggest ways that state employees from across California can be philanthropic and give back to nonprofits doing incredible work throughout our state. And today is no exception. I am so excited to have Rachel Rios joining us. Good afternoon, Rachel. How are you?
Hi, how are you doing? Thank you so much for having us on today.
It is our pleasure. Rachel's with La Familia Counseling Center. And, as we talk about this being National Hispanic Heritage Month, I am so excited to share what type of great work you do with our followers. Can you give us sort of the 101 of what it is that La Familia Counseling Center does?
Absolutely. So again, thank you for having us on. And La Familia Counseling Center is an organization that has been serving Sacramento community for over 47 years. We, as our name implies, we are a counseling center. So we provide mental health, behavioral health services for children 0 to 21, but we provide a lot more than mental health services. We are a community agency. We are one of the America's Job Centers, so we are a career center for SETA. So we offer on-the-job training placements for out-of-school youth. We have a career center and a computer lab for community members. We are one of the 9 family resource centers here in Sacramento. So we offer the Birth and Beyond program, which is an effective parenting, crisis intervention, school readiness, early learners program, as well as services for domestic violence. And we also provide health services. We are one of the COVID testing sites, and we do community health navigation, and we did community health working before COVID started, obviously. A lot of what we do is around youth. So we have youth programs for everything from leadership to working with youth detention facilities. And then again, just a lot of services to support families, to strengthen families, a lot of community service. So we do, right now we are helping with census. We have karate classes, we have Zumba classes, and we have 2 educational programs. We have one for adults, an ESL and GED program, and then we host an alternative high school for young people. So we do a lot of our work with partners. We feel that together with different organizations, we are stronger. And so we invite other organizations to be co-located with us and provide their services. So just a lot of services to help families become empowered and help them succeed.
That is incredible work. And the scope, right? The scope of work that you do is huge. You mentioned, obviously, mental health. Since March, we've been dealing with this ongoing pandemic. How have you had to pivot some of your services, and specifically those around mental health, but also now testing, right, that you're offering? How have you been specifically impacted because of this pandemic?
Yeah, in March, right before the closure orders, we actually decided we were going to take a break. We stopped for a day, we closed, and we met with our management team to say, how are we going to serve the community? And then we reopened. So we have not been closed. We recognized that we needed to be there for the community, especially for vulnerable communities that may not have another place or that may not have language proficiency to be able to access services in other ways. But we really did have to change. We had to go to a telehealth world, which we previously did not do. So it meant gearing up for what that meant. Our community sometimes is hard to reach, and not being able to have access to technology, we were very concerned about whether we were going to be able to really reach our community and be there for them. What we've found is that in some cases, we still offer face-to-face services. Working with the county, we've been able to facilitate, just following all the social guidelines if families want to have face-to-face contacts. But so many other families are able to do telehealth. And really just going above and beyond to check in with folks to see how they're doing. We do children's behavioral health, but our philosophy is to work with the whole family. And so being able to include the whole family, checking in with the parents or siblings or other folks to make sure that everyone is doing okay, because really it isn't just one person, right? It's the whole family unit. so it's been an adjustment, but our team is just an amazing group of dedicated, professionals that are going above and beyond to check in with folks. And we have behavioral health partners that go above and beyond checking in. We do children's behavioral health, but we have a small program that we call Centro Apoyo Latino CAL, which is for adults. It's a short-term program for those that may not have insurance. And what we've seen is an increase in the number of people asking for supportive services. It's a short-term, a few sessions to kind of address the crisis that people may be going through, and then do a warm handoff to a longer-term provider if that's what's needed. And what we've found is that a lot of people, are in crisis, they don't know what to do. And sometimes just having a few sessions of being able to talk it through someone and developing a plan really goes a long way. And so we've seen a lot of increase in services, parents and adults asking for support in that area.
I bet. And I thought it was really interesting when you brought up telehealth, and certainly the digital divide that we see disproportionately affect certain communities, and what that means for the need of your services that people have. Have you noticed any particular trends in sort of the youth aspects of mental health as opposed to the adults, or is everyone just trying to wade through these waters as best they can?
Well, I think that there are different trends, right? Adults are worried about how they're going to support their families. They're worried about their jobs. They're worried about if they get sick, how that's going to impact their families. What we see in our communities is, the impact of being essential workers. You see the spike in the Latino community here in Sacramento because they are overrepresented in the essential workforce. And so there's a lot of concern about how they're going to keep their families safe and how they're going to provide for their families. Young people have a lot of concerns, obviously worried for their parents who are still working, still in the workforce, and then also not having necessarily the support in terms of being isolated, not being able to, socialize with their peers, and maybe not necessarily knowing how to access the supportive services of educational systems. Our schools are navigating through this as well, and so are our teachers. But if you already are kind of a step behind because of language barriers or other barriers, maybe like, as you indicated, not having access to your own computer or to internet services, how do you get those supports that you need? And so we are concerned with the well-being of our young people and want to specifically do some outreach to connect with our schools and with our children, as well as the parents, to let them know that we're here and provide some additional supportive services just for both young people to not necessarily be a mental health client, but to be involved in wellness with a group of other young people that can just talk about what's going on. And sometimes just having that support, group, it just really makes a difference.
How special and how meaningful your work is year round. But of course, this being National Hispanic Heritage Month, I think the great work that you do takes on an even more significant meaning. Do you feel that? I mean, do you feel that with this being Hispanic Heritage Month?
Yeah, I think that especially knowing everything that's been going on in our community, the huge impact of the Latino community, I think it also gives us an opportunity to change the narrative. Many times when communities of color are discussed, they're talked about in terms of the disparities, right? They're talked about in terms of the deficiencies that exist. And this gives us an opportunity to change the narrative and talk about the essential workers that they are, to talk about how they are the backbone of our communities, keeping our economies alive, feeding, bringing food to our tables. And so really showing them in a different light and really being really proud of our community for doing the work. And then just recognizing that in order for us to sustain that, we just need to provide a little bit of support for a community that is willing to, sacrifice for us, right? To change the narrative, I think UCLA just recently put out a study that talks about US Latinos create the 8th largest economy in the world. Think about that.
Wow.
I mean, that is amazing. And so to think about the contributions that our community makes, not just to Sacramento, but to our state, but to our country, and to the world. to look at the contributions that they're making is awesome. And I think it's an opportunity, like I said, to change the narrative and to talk about the support and how they really are a backbone to our community. So yes, it gives us a lot of pride, and it also recognizes that with just a little bit of support from community, you have a thriving, contributing community.
Absolutely. And to that notion, what does, being a part of a campaign like Our Promise mean to you and to the organization?
No, it means a lot because a lot of our grants and resources are specifically directed to a specific service. But we know that there's so many other things like this digital divide that we talked about, or even just small amounts of support. And that's what this campaign helps us to address some of those issues, So as I talked about with those youth, being able to mentor youth, being able to reach out to them and to talk about what's going on. Those are all the things that we can do as a result of the contributions that people make to this campaign. We are able to really leverage that and to help some of the most vulnerable communities. And again, it doesn't require huge investments. It's those small amounts that, over time, really add up. Again, community members, if given an opportunity, really want to thrive. And so just a little bit of support goes a long way.
Absolutely. In any capacity, right? Whatever you can contribute really does help.
Absolutely.
Rachel, if folks want to learn more about La Familia, where can they go to do that?
Well, they can go to our website, www.lafcc.org. They can always call us 916-452-3601. And we have two sites. We have our main site, which is on 34th Street. And then about 5 years ago, we opened up a repurposed school. It was a school that was closed, and we opened up what we call the Maple Neighborhood Center. And there we have different partners there. We have some amazing organizations that are with us, 916 Inc., Fairy Towns Adventure Playground, Highlands Charter. We have a STEM center, and just a lot of different programs there. And then soon we will be opening our third facility, which is the Opportunity Center, really recognizing the need to retrain a lot of our workforce to be able to give them opportunities in livable wage jobs. We are working, again, using the same model as Maple, bringing in other partners that do really good stuff together and being able to provide those support services for the community.
It's really unbelievable how much important, impactful work that you and your entire team are doing. And we just want to say on behalf of California and the campaign, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today, Rachel. It was really insightful.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.